If you guys have been following these, I skipped 26 because it was study suffering. And from being somebody who's been dealing with depression as long as I can remember, like first grade, people with mental health issues seem to study suffering early. And I like to think that over the last 25 years of doing this, that I've picked up a few things that I would like to share with you that seem to have helped me out. So bear with me. This will be kind of different.
Sometimes in the morning I am petrified and can't move away, but cannot open my eyes, and the weight is crashing down on my lungs. I know I can't breathe and hope someone will save me this time. And your mother's still calling you insane, and I swear it's different this time.
When I was a kid, depression kind of forces you to ask, why am I suffering? Why does this happen to me? Is there a God? And then you start going down all these goofy paths, and you're constantly asking, what is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? What's wrong with me? Why does this exist? Why do I even want to live? How do I end this suffering? All these questions start coming out in your head. And that started for me when I was 6 and 7 years old, all the way up until now. It forces you to ask those big questions you usually ask at some point in your life when you have like a midlife crisis. But it started really, really young. That's range right there. That's the range of suffering. At the littlest, maybe so now. At the littlest, there's just like a bug, and the opposite side, there's like a death in the family. And that, I know it's just a straw, but that is a big range where a little mosquito's bugging the hell out of you, where you want to die, someone wants to die, there's a death, your pet dies, a whole other side of the spectrum. And within that range, you start to feel like it's constantly moving. Suffering because you didn't get enough sleep that morning, and then all of a sudden you might get fired from your job. It's like a yo-yo kinda. Think of this string as the range. It's constantly moving, and that's kind of how suffering works. But Shawn, how does this help me? Let me show you. Let's put this down. Usually two different types of suffering. There's suffering physically, which could be physical pain within your body. You broke your leg, you have a cut. And there's the emotional pain, and that's all the pain that happens inside your body, internally. And there's this cool thing with the cognitive behavioral therapy. These are all interconnected. If you change one of these things, it changes the other two. So you can change an action that's why exercising seems to work with mental health so much. You do an action and it affects your thoughts and your feelings. For your thoughts, you do meditation, you see a therapist, and that changes the things you do, and it changes the way you feel. Feelings, you take some medication, and it can change the way you think a little bit, and it can change the things you do. It's cool. It's all interconnected. It's awesome. In graduate school, I learned a really important lesson. Because I had young depression, started really young, I started looking at all the problems with everything because I wanted to fix everything. And that's really awesome in grad school because you try and find everything that's going wrong within the paper or the experiment, and you get really good at it. But then I had a professor tell me once that instead of always looking at what is wrong, there's another side of the equation. That's just half of it. The other side is what is right. That was an amazing revolution for me. I was really good at seeing what was wrong. So good at it. Like if you could get a black belt for that, I would have a black belt. Well, I really just want the truth. And the truth isn't what is always wrong. There's both sides. You need to take both sides into account. Then when I started doing that, not just in school, but in life, everything changed. And what I changed was I changed the way I was thinking. And that changed the way I reacted with the world. And that changed the way I felt about the world. With that cognitive behavioral therapy thing, the suffering changed. What causes suffering? And the most true statement I've ever heard about it is suffering is caused by wanting things to be different than the way they are. Let's say you're stuck in depression, super stormy out, and it's never fun. While you're in it, you can always say, oh, I can't believe I'm in depression. This happened last time. This is really, why can't I get better? And I used to do that all the time. And it's what that does is it pulls you deeper and deeper and deeper into suffering, into that depression, until it kind of engulfs you and eats you up. And I've kind of learned that if you understand what suffering and depression does, just like a normal storm cloud, it'll move. And I know it's going to move. What happens if I just accept that I feel this way right now and just try and experience it? What's it like? What am I feeling? How's it affecting my thoughts and my actions, my feelings? Then everything changes. Then you kind of step away from depression. Like you're out here. You're almost like above it, looking down on it. And you start to feel pretty good. Depression, it really sucks. It sucks bad. But it doesn't have to. And I always say I'm never fighting depression. Because if I try and fight it, there's a winner and a loser. Instead, I just dance with it. I cooperate with it. I understand how it works, and then I make changes based on it. And then the suffering kind of, it's not so bad. I'm not trying to say depression is good. I'm really not. What I am saying is that it can be managed. Or when I stopped pole vaulting, that was really hard. And why was it hard? Because it was so good. The lows help you appreciate the highs. And I know it's really hard to tell somebody who's in depression, but it's true. I don't know if any of that made sense. I just tried to find a new way to tell it. So today's challenge is just pay attention to suffering. The highs, the lows, the in-betweens. How do you react to it? Do you run from it or do you dive in? The life's meant to be experienced. Curiosity will get you there. I will be heading to Colorado this week for shenanigans. See you tomorrow.
And sometimes when you're on, you're really fucking on. And your friends, they sing along and they love you. But the lows are so extreme that the good seems fucking cheap. And a tear